to the Indie Wrestling Guy with your hosts, the Hall of Fame referee, JHawk, the not-so-mysterious benefactor, JGold, and the legendary Charly Butters.
It's been a busy week, 4 days, 5 days. On Thursday, I did the JP Morgan corporate challenge with 300 other members of my company. I finished it's a 5K, it's 3.5 miles, and I kind of walked and ran fast. I finished a gentlemanly hour and 5 minutes. And I finished 19,000th and change out of I don't even know how many, but it was not close. So I can say that I will not be qualifying for the New York or Boston Marathon this year. You did get credits and points if you're in a Roadrunners Club or whatever, so that you could qualify for those. But I did not qualify. But it was good. But here's how long it took me. By the time I got back to the setup where all of our stuff was, everyone was gone. We were supposed to go out for drinks and have dinner. Nope, it was 8:45, and everybody's just like, "Screw it, I'm going home." So everybody went home. So that was that for me. And then Friday I wake up and my wife goes, Harper's been scratching her head, a bunch. This week and last week, and I think I'm going to take her when she gets off the school bus to check on some lice. So she came home late for, I think it was Saturday, and we had lice. So Steph had lice, Harper had lice. They call me and they're like, "You need to clean the whole house. You have to." I did laundry for 18 hours. Okay, I missed Create a Pro because I did laundry for 18 hours. I had to treat everything in the house. It cost Harper and Steph $500 to get the lice out of their hair. Can you fucking believe that? That was probably my birthday present down the toilet for, speaking of that, since my birthday is tomorrow, which is Tuesday, but this is going to air on Thursday. So if you wish me a happy birthday, you're fucking late by the time you hear this. So we had lice. I was exhausted from the fun run, as Butters calls it. Then Sunday, the Port Washington Youth Activities girls, 4th and 5th grade flag football team, won their first game. Boys, we did it. And I told you I was feeling it. Defensively, they never played a better game than they did 2 weeks ago when we had our doubleheader. We held the highest scoring team in the league to 12 points, 2 touchdowns. We had 3 picks. We had one for a pick 6. We had one run for 60 yards for a touchdown, and we had a throwing touchdown. We beat the shit out of them. My daughter caught an extra point. We were everywhere that day. I was so proud. I brought Munchkins. I think I now have to bring Munchkins on Sunday next week, because next week we play them again, because we're the 8th seed and they're the 1 seed. I thought they were buys, so I thought they were gone, that we didn't have to worry about them. But we got to play them again on Sunday. So that was good. So I was riding a high. I was running through the streets of Port Washington telling people that we won. And then because you know what? 1-5-2 looks a whole lot better than 0-6-2 for the season. So I was texting my buddy who's at least they'll probably offer you an extension now, so to speak. We have that. So maybe next year I'll be invited back, but a lot of my girls are going up to 6th grade, so they won't be in this league. And then tonight, we went to a French restaurant for dinner for my birthday, since my wife is going to be at work all week long without me. She's not going to be able to make it tomorrow night. So Harper and I ate snails. We ate escargot tonight, and I was very proud of her because she just went all in on it. She didn't even bother smelling it, nothing. She was just okay, and just threw it into her face. So she eats like I do, which is good. But yeah, so that was the last 4 or 5 days have been very eventful, and tomorrow's my birthday. And then since she won't be home tomorrow night, Harper and I will just go out and get sushi or something, just the 2 of us. And then I got to get home in time for NXT. So that is the roundup of this weekend. All in all, very exciting. I still am getting itchy thinking about the lice. I had to get that lice thing done. All of us look like Seinfeld episode where they had the low flow. You remember the low flow shower heads? And everybody's hair was matted down. That's what we all look like, because they have to put that conditioner in your hair, and they have to go through it, and they run everything through your hair. I go to the lady, I'm like, come on. I'm like, you don't have to insult me. I know there's nothing up there. It's nothing. There's no trust me. There's nothing. There's less in the middle of my head than there is in the front. I'm like, don't. I'm not fooling anybody. There's no lice in there. So yeah, I didn't burn the house down this time. This is the second time we've had lice in the same within a year. She had it last year in April, and this year she has it in June or May, and cost us Creative Pro. We didn't get to see Jeff Jarrett this weekend.
Yeah, I was hoping for that video of you getting kabonked.
Yeah, and Andrew said that Creative Pro was kind of meh this week. So he said he thinks Gabby Forza needs to we need to get her work on her offense. She needs to go more to tossing people and doing some like big like tosses and suplexes as opposed to striking. I think she doesn't need to strike as much when she's that size. She should be throwing ladies all over the ring. Like, I get it. I mean, I know she's wrestled like under 100 matches in her career. So I think now's the time we like power up Gabby and make her, start to use her size and strength a little bit more.
I do have a couple of things, JGold. One,
yeah,
you kind of touched on it, but old motherfuckers don't have any hair left, so like it's not that big a deal.
Right. I'm okay with it. And as of tomorrow, I'll be 47, in case anybody wants to know.
Which means you're the old one, just barely on the podcast.
Yes.
I'm happy I'm not the oldest.
I always feel like I am in front, and with everybody we hang out with. Except for even older than Porter O'Shea, and I thought he was older than me. He only looks older than me.
yeah, I'm only 4 months younger than you, so yeah. But the other thing is, you talked about you got to bring Munchkins next time. Now you got to, as long as you keep winning, you've got to bring Munchkin. It's like superstition now. It's like Wade Boggs and the fried chicken. Like you have to.
That's what one of the dads said to me. He said, you got to bring those next week. I'm like, that's $20 worth of Munchkins. These girls ravaged 50 Munchkins. They were lunatics. Maybe that's what did it. Gave them a little boost.
You put all the steroids in the Munchkins.
That's right.
They're just fucking going to town.
A little
roid
juice.
rage.
But I got to tell you guys, I am an offensive coach. I looked at some of the stats. We have the fourth most points. We've scored the fourth most points in the league, but so we have like 65 points for. However, we have given up the most points in the league. The lowest given up is 42. The highest is us at 116 points for the season. And yet the last 2 weeks we've only given up 12 points. So I think the defense is coming. I think the girls are finally starting to understand what they need to do. And you know what? What a better time to do it than in the playoffs, right? Now we're clicking.
Yeah, you make the playoff and then getting hot at the right time.
Right.
Everybody complains about only getting the wild card and too many wild card, but like the wild card team go on that run, maybe they actually were the better team.
They said to it, look, if you watch soccer, they always show you your form, right? Before each game, they're like, last 5 games, win, draw, loss, whatever. We're at draw and win in our last 2 games. We are there. I think we are in the perfect form to take on this team again. I think they were very upset when they left the field, those girls. They were not used to, they only lost 1 game all year. They were not used to losing. So this little scrappy bunch, I ran on the field like it was the Super Bowl. I was like lifting them up on my shoulders, like running around the field. I'm like, I told you. I wanted to yell at the parents. I told you, motherfuckers, we were going to win this. I told you.
We get fun when you have a team that doesn't play well and you end up beating the best team in the league. My sons last year in Little League, they were like that. They weren't very good, but for whatever reason, they beat the best team in the league. And the other coaches were offering to buy them ice cream. They beat the best team in the league.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes, that's how you do it. You got to go out there and shock the world. That's what we did. The parents on the other team could not believe we were stopping them and picking that. I thought we were going to lose it. Like there were 2 different times where I'm like, they're going in right now. And the rules in our league is you have to throw twice every 4 downs. So when they ran 2 runs, I was like, oh my God, we got them. They have to throw the ball. And we picked it off each time they had to throw the ball. So, I think next time they had us on a couple of crosses. I think our girls are still not picking up the crosses on the passing play. But I think we are in a good spot for next week. I think we can if we keep it close, we can win. So who knows?
And they've got 1 more win than everybody compared to the Browns to have next year. So there you go.
And the Jets.
Yeah. ESPN came out with the Browns are expected to have the worst record in the NFL next year. I'm like, oh, they went out on a limb with that one. Fuck.
Well, the Jets and the Browns were all going to be doing this for a very long time, unfortunately.
Do they play each other this year? Do you know?
They do. I'm pretty sure they do.
Watch that end in a fucking tie.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'll be filming some stuff for the IW Guide Verse this weekend at AIW, so I'm excited for that.
Wait, at AIW you're doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Okay. I mean, everybody will be there, so it's just a matter of just getting them and going outside and filming something. So.
Oh, fun.
Since they're giving away my first ever main event that I was gonna do.
like Thor really knew that. Come on.
He did. They knew it was an inside job.
That's right. It's because Dom secretly listens to the show and he goes and he tells Thor and everything.
Well, no, Dom knew the list because I've shown Dom that list and they knew the list. They knew the matches. They gave it away.
Son of a bitch.
It's all right. It was getting changed anyway. So, because when that show's gonna happen, I don't know if that match would make sense for that show. So we'll see. This might get changed up a little bit. So.
I dig it.
Yeah. Well,
what do we got this week, by the way? Anything good? Anything else? Anything? Oh shit! I got 2 things I want to go over when we talk about what's on. By the way. Oh, this is weird.
Okay, well, let's do shout outs first.
Yeah, I got 2 things we got to discuss. Okay.
So shout out to Patty first.
Hi, Patty.
Hey.
Shout out to Zach.
Hey, Zach.
Who is such a great friend. He went to the Dallas Comic Expo and got me an autograph photo of Kate Micucci from
nice.
She's been in a bunch of stuff, but she was also in Garfunkel and Oates.
Oh yeah, that's her name.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, the brunette of the group.
She's the one who plays the ukulele.
Yes.
Yes, she was on Scrubs too.
Yes, she's been in a lot of TV shows.
Yeah.
She was there and he got me an autograph from her and it says Butters on it. So I thought that was really fun.
Ted's girlfriend.
So I was really excited for that. Like that came out of left field. I wasn't expecting that to happen. And he sent me a photo of it. So I thought that was cool.
That's rad.
And then of course Bagel Monger. So who was gonna film this glorious guitar shot on you.
Yeah.
That I was so excited to have that footage and put it on the Patreon and then just watch the Patreon money rack up for us.
I'm sure Jeff Jarrett would have absolutely loved to have hammered me with a guitar just for no reason. Yeah. Oh, Lord. So what's on? JHawk, what do you got?
What's on this weekend?
All right, I'm gonna do a couple things. Well, as far as what's on live this week on Triller TV, this coming Saturday, June 7th at 6:30 p.m., it's House of Glory Wrestling. Mike Santana presents Puerto Rican Weekend 2025, and the main event will be Mike Santana defending his House of Glory Heavyweight Championship against Tomohiro Ishii. That's just one of the great matches on that particular card.
I may try to go to that, actually. That sounds good.
And I just want to bring up here, I'm actually surprised you didn't bring up your encounter with Joe Dombrowski there, Butter. But Joe
that did happen, yeah.
Yeah, you talk about that in a minute here. We'll have a little bit of time. But Joe Dombrowski, ProWrestlingLibrary.com website, he's been putting up a lot more independent wrestling footage, not just PWO and Prime Wrestling. But he actually just put up the NWA Grand Slam card from 1993 that featured the Lightning Kid versus Sabu match that's been going around. Now that card also featured Jerry Lynn against Chris Candido and more. So I'm not sure. I'd have to look up the rate for it. I know they're charged for the ProWrestlingLibrary.com site, but Joe does some great work there. So if you are interested in seeing some older independent wrestling, check that out.
Yeah, I was at work on Saturday and he came in and went over and was looking at stuff, and I was dealing with some other customers and I got them all checked out. He was still looking around at stuff and he came over and I was like, "Are you Joe Dombrowski?" He's like, "Yes, unfortunately I am." And I'm like, "Oh," I thought it was you. I was like, So he talked about where he was on his way to and that kind of thing. And he said he was stopping at some different stores and checking stuff out and said he'd probably see me again because he likes to swing through that area on his way to and from shows. So it's pretty cool.
All right. Well, my kid just came down here. Okay, so on the IWTV side, this is pretty interesting. This is Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Kitsune Women's Wrestling, going back to San Diego, live. It's Miyu Yamashita versus Zara Zakher. Tay Hanma versus Brooke Havoc. London Dior versus Kitsune. Milo versus Jin Savani versus Alex Gracia, who I have not seen in ages, Alex Gracia. She was on one AIW show. And Lady Lee versus Dark Sheik. I did not know what Kitsune women's wrestling was, and now I'm seeing it, and they have a few of them here. And then Sunday, in case anybody is around in New York, NYWC presents ID Showcase. It's going to be Ice Williams versus Gall, Jordan Oasis versus Bryce Donovan, Ricky Smokes versus Cappuccino Joe's fucking name, Kylie Ray versus Zara Zacher, and Timothy Thatcher versus Big Sam Holloway. That's all going to be out here at the New York Wrestling Center, NYWC Wrestling Center. So I may be seeing Big Sam on Sunday. So he's wrestling Timothy Thatcher, and that's going to be great. I didn't know what that whole ID nonsense, but that's pretty good. They're out there and they're going to be here. So there's a few opportunities to see talent out here in the New York side, and then to put on that nighttime show and watch some very interesting women's wrestling going on the other side.
Yeah, you can ask him about how it was like to get his ass beat by Mikey Montgomery on Saturday night.
Yeah, we can find out all those good things. Maybe I get him to cut a couple of promos on this side. Big Sam in his new pants and his beard and everything else.
Unrecognizable.
Right. Sam's like, my brother's like, who's that? I'm like, that's Sam. What are you doing? How do you not recognize him? He put leather pants on.
Yeah, I like the beard. The pants don't. To me, the bad pants don't suit him. But
you know, I think it works. I just like to the Mike Awesome look of him. He moved around so much like Mike Awesome, and I think he would be great if he kept. I mean, he could keep the singlet, but I think the pants were something that they want to go with. So who knows?
Yep. All right, let's get our guest in here.
Let's do it.
Interviewing.
All right, so our guest this week, not very often we get somebody who's been around the wrestling business longer than I have, but I was in the crowd for this guy's first match a long ass time ago. Former Mid-Ohio heavyweight champion, former NWA East heavyweight champion, former Neo Pro wrestling champion. I can go lift accolades all night long. Patrick Haig, everybody.
You can keep going. You could want.
I'm impressed. I am over here on the East Coast, so I am not aware of when we bring in some legends from the Midwest, and I hear how many titles and things. So you have a pretty extensive list of titles there.
I dabble a little bit. I like to collect them the best I can.
Excellent. JHawk, go ahead, lead us off, brother.
All right. Well, you and I have been around for so long. Like, you and I can just tell stories all day long here. Let's start by going over some of the guys that you've gotten a chance to wrestle. You've wrestled Johnny Gargano. You've wrestled Ray Monroe. Match I was in the crowd for. You wrestled Eddie Kingston back in the day.
Yes. It was Mother's Day, yeah?
That was Mother's Day, yeah.
I think my mom was there. She wasn't very happy with me after.
What year was that? How long ago was that you got a chance to wrestle Eddie Kingston?
45.
That was 2007, I believe, if I'm correct on that.
Now, was that pre-Chikara Eddie Kingston or post? Was that Eddie Kingston in Chikara?
I'm pretty sure Chikara was rock and rolling pretty good in 07. This is back in the Youngstown area. It was a championship wrestling experience, and it was a pretty cool little group. It was around for a couple years. They had a couple great things and a couple really crappy things towards the end, at least. But they tried, and they had a deal with Chikara. They brought in a lot of Chikara guys from King to Jigsaw, some of the Ants, back when the Ants were a thing. Larry Sweeney was the first champion of CWE, so it was cool working with old Sweeney, 12 Large Brother, my man. And CWE was a cool territory while it lasted. They also gave me a chance to work with Jake the Snake Roberts. That was a pretty fun experience as well. CWE was pretty cool.
Damn.
Was that the same night he got arrested, or was that a different show?
It was. He I guess. So that was, I think, around 07 as well, maybe 08. And the last time he was in the Mahoning Valley, or at least the Youngstown area, and I could be wrong. Somebody probably got me beat on this. But I guess there was a hit and run or something like that. And I don't want to put anybody's business out there, but he had a warrant. And we came back from the match, which was a real fun match. And the first thing I asked him, I said, "Hey, you got any advice for me out there, pal?" and he's always been very nice to me. I've met him a couple of times before that and after that since. But I asked him if he had any advice for me. He says, "Not right now, kid. I'm about to get arrested." And I thought he was bull. He said let him get changed first. So then
Wow.
he only spent the night, I believe, or even made bail or something, because the next morning me and Tom Dunn picked him up at the hotel, and then we went to Geneva on the Lake, and I wrestled him the next night as well. So it was a pretty fun little weekend.
Oh shit! You and Tom Dunn riding the roads together too.
Oh man, Tom Dunn, there'd be no Patrick Hayes. I owe him so much, more than he'll ever know.
We'll just edit that out. We'll just edit that out. We don't need to give Tom Dunn any credit on this show.
Oh yeah, wave me off.
He's not the first person to put Tom Dunn over on this show. Come on.
I know. I'm trying to keep it to a minimum, though. You know.
Yeah, this buddy for the longest time. I owe him a tremendous amount, and I love him to this day. I hope if he hears this, man, give me a holler. I haven't heard from you in a long time. I miss you.
He's a loyal listener. He'll definitely give you a shout.
I see that he's somebody that he's very familiar with. He wears a mask, Mr. D. Maybe I'll ask Mr. D if he can get me in touch with Tom Dunn. I see that he's making the rounds again. We'll see.
Yeah, Mr. D, your longtime manager in Mid-Ohio. I refereed a lot of the matches with him in your corner.
Yeah.
Supposedly you were doing some shit behind my back when he was distracting me. I hope that's not true.
What's that?
So if I could ask you, I just want to jump in because I'm, as I said, I'm here on the East Coast. So can you just give me a little idea of your area? Like, where'd you start? Like, who trained you? Because I'm just learning a little more as you go.
Questionable Patrick Hayes training. It started at, I'm sure you've heard this, old JHawk. Tell him, JHawk. No, the Shamrock nightclub in Barberton, Ohio. I came walking in with some guys that I actually did some backyard trampoline wrestling with, keeping it safe. And they had some guys out in the area that had the public access television that UWC ran, the United Wrestling Council, John Potok. And there was one of those, you want to be a wrestler kid kind of commercials. Come on down and see what you got. They all got tryouts. It was kind of a real easy, hey, come in, we'll see what you got, give you 3 minutes. And they all got on, and not for nothing, I thought I was pretty darn good for a yarder. And so I, put on my best cutoff T-shirt and wrestling sweatpants and a pair of tennis shoes. Called myself a professional wrestler, and they gave me a tryout. They saw right through me and said, "Hey, you can come help set up the ring, and we're starting a training school." Their trainers changed about every other week. One was the Rogue, Greg Anderson, veteran in the Ohio area. He's pretty established, known. He's a pro. Another guy was Eddie Insane. He took over the training for a little while after the Rogue left. And then Eddie left, and it was down to Kid Rageous, who's now known as Lou Gotti down in Texas. Very wrestler.
May also know him as Lamont Action Williams if you're in this area. So
yeah, so he's Lou Gotti, and he's got a hell of a training territory down in Texas. He made a great name for himself moving down there, and he's always had it in him. I think he's by far one of the most underrated guys I've ever been with in the 100 years that I've been wrestling. And I'm glad that if he leaves any mark on the business, I think it'll be with his training. So I credit Lamont with my training, and that's who I credit with my training. It was a great time learning from him, because you learned you're right, and it wasn't just bullshit, just throwing some matches together and rolling around the ring, throw you through some drills and teach you some etiquette, and let you have it if you didn't know what the hell you were doing. And for years he kept me kept in my ear. He was awesome, and I miss him too. I haven't seen him in a long time. Actually, I ran into him a couple years ago at one of the Stomp Out Cancers or Dropkick
Diabetes.
Yeah, and we had a nice match. I was hurt, and he took care of me like the professional that he is. And even still, just all these years later, giving me that advice and that push that you need. You never stop learning in this business. So Lamont Williams is a hell of a trainer, and that's who I credit as my trainer.
Yeah, Lamont. I always tell people Lamont Williams was in the best match nobody ever saw. He did a 30-minute Ironman match against Chad Lee in front of Kevin People. I'm not making a cup. Kevin fucking People.
Oh man, with Chad Lieb too, that must be a barn burner.
Match was really fucking good. I refereed that match. It was really fucking good. But like they were like 30-minute iron match in front of 7 people, and everybody's like, you can shave that time. There's nobody here. Like, oh no, we're going 30. Like they even fucking shave time.
Especially what year was that? Mid 2000s probably.
04.
Yeah, there's no way Lamont was shaving his time. Not when he got out there. That's another thing. I mean, it didn't matter if there was 7 or 700. Lamont will always give it his all. That's something he instilled in all of us.
That was like the second show I ever did. Second or third show I ever did. Like I had just gotten started with that.
You were pretty blown up too.
Oh yeah.
I like to know that JHawk, a young JHawk, was reffing an Iron Man match in front of 7 people. That's actually fantastic, if you ask me.
Footage. There's the footage, or it didn't happen.
So
I
Patrick,
got paid. I didn't give a shit.
let me ask you. So you mentioned Jake the Snake. So in your career, I mean, you've been doing this now, what, almost 20 years?
Wrestlers never tell their age. Yeah, we'll call it 20. So
like I'm fascinated because when we had Wilbur on and we had Gary J on and guys like you have seen the road, been on the roads, seen a lot go through. What other, as far as talents go, were you in the ring with and you're like, holy shit, like you were, let's say you were younger at the time, and you're like, holy shit, what am I doing in the ring with this guy? Or I can't believe I'm in the ring with this guy, like besides Jake.
And I can go on forever with that. It's very, I could put everybody over and let them know, put them over all that I. Yep. As far as just guys, what the hell am I doing in here? When I was in my first year, JHawk and Adam Cage, a guy who's not around much anymore. You see him pop up here and there. He's another tremendous, just an amazing. Never knew how great he was. And anybody who's ever been in the ring with him or seen him work, they know exactly who and why I'm talking about him. They really put us through the ringer when we were just coming up, and with good reason. We were just so wet behind the ears. But even to this day, JHawk keeps for all the things that JHawk has kept going for the past 20 years that I've known him. It's still fresh and original, and he keeps changing up. He's gotten himself in a tremendous shape, and his gear is always fresh, and his promos are always the JHawk daddy. Give it up one time, but it still gets over. But in the ring, just really, really kicking ass and giving us a little rub and showing us how to really, really work out there, not just go out there and bullshit. There was working with Ray Rowe back then was incredible because he was really, really hungry. He always has been, and for him to finally get his break when he did, it's so great that he did, and all the great things that he's doing back then. John McChesney from the Pittsburgh area is back when he was fabulous, John McChesney, and even now when he's big league, he's just I can't really, I don't think anybody could call a bad John McChesney match, and he's so giving with the young guys and whoever he's working in there with, guys and girls. There's so many people that I've been in their business in the ring with that have gone on to such great things that I'm so proud of that you don't really grasp at the time, that you think that it's going to last forever and you're just going to have, I'll see this guy next week and we're going to do this again, and then the next couple of weeks we're going to run this program, we'll do this for the next 3 years, and then they're going to do bigger and better things. Like Matthew Justice is one that comes to mind. He's better than he'll ever know. I can go on forever with guys that have gone on and that you don't realize are helping you so much. And then you realize that when they go off and they start, making the bucks and making the towns, it's you get really proud of them. So just guys like that really show you that it's not just, you're not just out there playing wrestler. You're out there, it's not a fight, it's not a war, but it's work. It's not just playing. You know what I mean? So
then let me ask you then this question: what do you think the difference is now between the indies and then when you started? What's the biggest difference? What do you see as far as the landscape goes of the indies right now as opposed to when you were there? As opposed to when you started. Sorry, not when you were there, since you're there still.
I get this question a lot, and I think about it myself a lot, actually. I talk about it too sometimes, ad nauseum. It's just it was a different time. Nowadays, and it's great. It's great that the hazing, no pun intended, is kind of not so not so much these days. But at the same time, it's kind of a double-edged sword because every small town in America has a wrestling school on every street corner. So anybody can go and be a wrestler. Because they played Raw versus SmackDown 2010, and then they want to be a professional wrestler, and that's cool because some people have actually gone that route and are under contract right now and making a living doing this fun dream that we all have been doing for the past 20 years, and God bless them. That's cool. But I think back then it was a little tougher to get your foot in the door, and sure there was I told my story, and I know I'm not the only person who might have stretched the truth about getting my foot in the door, so I'll be the first to admit that maybe that wasn't the greatest thing that I ever did. But that being said, it was a little more hard nosed as far as allowing people to share the locker room and share the canvas, the ring. I mean, that's how long it takes for somebody to actually get into the ring after doing all the calisthenics and all the drills and all the stuff to even build up to that with proper and great training. I just think that nowadays, I don't think it should be taken for granted, even to this day, still getting the butterflies going to a show, let alone when your music plays, you're going through the curtain. Like, I think that that's like a lost feeling because, well, if this show doesn't work out, then I'll just go to the next one, one town over, and the people will still remember me because those same fans are coming to this one for, a $5 less ticket charge. You know what I'm trying to say there?
Yeah.
I just feel there's just too much. And it's great because there's opportunities for everybody. I want everybody to have this feeling, I guess. But the selfishly, and I think a lot of guys my age or who have been around for this long and have gone through as much as some of us have gone through. It's kind of like, well, did you really earn it? It's great that you have a spot. It's great that you got a chance to wrestle in front of your friends and your family and whatnot. But at what cost? Is it just because you put your money down and you get to work on the shows that the company that you trained at is running shows? So since you paid for training, now you're a professional wrestler. I don't think that's how it should work. I think you should really cut your teeth and hit the grind. And I don't know. Like I said, I'm glad the hazing is a little more tame, but at the same time, I feel like there should be a little bit more of earn your stripes, in my opinion. And that's just me.
And I agree with you. I'm of the same mindset. Growing up, I think JHawk and I in the same mindset. Growing up was you had to pay your dues. I think accessibility has hurt the wrestling scene a lot. Whether it's accessibility to the talent, where fans think that they are closer to the talent than they are. Accessibility to just get yourself doing something on wrestling, thinking you're a part of the business, so to speak. Just influencers and people like that. I think that kind of accessibility has hurt the business. I think on the flip side of that, accessibility as far as getting to shows has never been easier. If you want to go see a show, there's shows everywhere. So I think you have the two sides of that is of the same word. The two sides has kind of done some damage and also has allowed people to experience it in a way. When I was a kid, growing up in New York, we hardly had any indie shows. It wasn't, my indie was ECW in '94. Like, I was like, holy shit, I can go to Queens and see wrestling, on TV, as opposed to some people who, like, when I talk to Butters and JHawk about this, and they're always telling me, how many different shows they went to, how much fun they had at these different, ran at this venue. It wasn't like that in New York. We didn't have, I grew up in Long Island. We didn't have anything out there. And when I grew up in Queens, we only had ECW. So, like, I think accessibility, especially on this side of the country, has made it easier for us to go to shows. But on the other hand, you have to deal with stupid wrestling fans, which is something that I constantly bring up. We talk about, wrestling fans ruin everything on occasion. So, it's interesting that you say that. So with that said, so the companies that you have worked for, which ones do you think, if there are any that are defunct now, which ones do you think would be thriving, like maybe now, like if they were gone back in like the early days?
I brought up the CWE before. I think that if they had a little bit better little more, if they're a little more responsive to some of the veterans that they were working with, and they were at first. Like I said, Chikara guys were coming in. Chris Hero pretty much took the book from from the owner. And Nick, if you're watching this, you know that it's the truth. There's promoters and there's bookers and whatnot, but Chris had the mind for it, and he pretty much brought in the Chikara guys. That was something cool, but at the same time, I guess I could let's nix that because Hero it was kind of like Chikara Midwest, I guess, because it was a lot of Chikara guys. I think me and Johnny and I think the bouncer maybe, and of course Tom Dunn. I think and Flying Ryan Burke. I think we were the only like local guys on those shows, at least at the early part. It was a lot of Chikara guys. So I guess that was one thing that they brought in, like, because back then you could only see Chikara guys, at went like Philly, and their bubble, which was a big bubble, especially with the magazine coverage and stuff, the internet coverage that they had. So to bring in that outside talent, I guess, is something cool that they were doing back then. I really liked a Pittsburgh show that I was at for a long time. The NWA, it became the PWX, and then the PWX became the Fight Society, and becomes. But at the same time, it was always the same booker, and that was Quinn Magnum. And he's actually running another show in the Pittsburgh area called the Renegade Wrestling Alliance. So having a mind for that, and always having consistent booking, and always having people that want to work for you, Quinn's always had a grasp on that. But his idea of this Fight Society, it was the underground, this whole building, this whole idea, it kind of reminded you of like that niche. I think that's the word I'm looking for. That audience that's not necessarily, I wouldn't say on the level of like blood sport like Josh Barnett, you know what I mean? But kind of like where it's like more of a fight, and almost like the knockout rules and submission rules and stuff like that.
Like Pancrase or like Paradigm?
Kind of, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're professional wrestlers, and we're not, not many of us had that training and stuff like that. So the idea was there, but the talent, myself included, I'm not crapping on anybody, but the idea was there, and that was, that was only in like the late 2010s, so it wasn't too far back, but the idea was there. And now when it's picking up, and then all these, the no ring matches and the death match shows, the no ring shows and stuff like that, like. Say what you want about it, like they're cleaning up. I mean, it's actually they have their audience for it, and I'm not saying that's it's just different the way that wrestling goes as far as the idea of professional wrestling. It all comes down to professional wrestling, but like branching out to like back then, hey, you don't have anybody could put up a ring and a curtain. Well, now you don't even need a ring and a curtain. You just this is a wrestling show and there's no ring. Well, people are kind of into that shit.
Yeah.
And same thing with the the rings with the chains and stuff like that. The
ICW.
ICW, that's
no holds barred. Yeah,
and it's unique. At the end of the day, it's professional wrestling, but like it's going to get like a couple of different eyes on it, because it's like, all right, this is something different. It's not just guys doing moonsaults off the top. It seems more of like we get more of those like real fighter fans and stuff, and that which gets eyes on your product, which hopefully turns into fans, which turns into tickets bought, which turns into more money for the boys and more money for the company, more places for the guys to work. I mean, it's just a whole cycle. I mean, I'm for it all. Whether the promotions that I work for are gone and the promoter doesn't want to work anymore or doesn't want to deal with it anymore, the bookers are gone, whatever it is. At the end of the day, professional wrestling is what it's all about. And there's many different directions we can go with it. I guess it just depends on your market and who's buying tickets and who's drawing money, I suppose.
So you're not an anti deathmatch guy then?
I'm sorry?
You're not like an anti deathmatch guy then? Because we've had some guys on.
No, I love deathmatch. Was some of the funnest matches I've ever worked.
Oh, good. Okay, that's interesting that you say it.
I'm a big fan of that style.
Yeah, we've had some guys on who said that they won't do it, or they struggle. We've had some guys on who are like, I can't do that, like just not going to do it. Don't see the value of the storytelling that goes into it, that kind of thing. So to hear you say that's kind of refreshing, because I haven't heard a lot of guys say, oh yeah, head in.
I think that if you're into it, like if you're going to go into it in a pessimist way, already kind of like, oh, it's whatever, then I guess it's not for you. I mean, I don't, I guess, it's one thing I'm not going to shit on anybody who goes and does the deathmatch stuff. They could tell the story and have it mean something. And hey, and a million times, like I said, I mean, it's just like, I could I mean, I can only imagine how many times I might have been on the trash bag wrestlers, but there's a lot more trash bag wrestlers than there are, some death matches, some guys that fancy themselves death match guys, or maybe do death match and once in a while. But I think and girls. I'm sorry I want to be inclusive. Who go out and just put their best foot forward, no matter, again, doesn't matter what the crowd size is, doesn't matter what the crowd wants, doesn't matter what their what the whole idea is going into it, is as long as you're out there putting your best foot forward and you're trying to work the best you can. I don't care what kind of wrestling you do, really. I mean, if you're into it, I think you should, if you accept the booking, I think no matter what, you should at least try and put your best foot forward. At least go in there open-minded, no matter what style of wrestling it is, or what the promoter asks of you, or what type of stipulation match it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's professional wrestling. It could just be are you a professional wrestler, or are you just playing wrestler? You know what I mean? Be professional.
Yeah.
So back in November, you took a necklace of firecrackers.
Oh shit!
It was a good time. That was something I won't forget, because I completely forgot you guys talked about it, and then we're sitting there watching it, and then I looked away, and then all of a sudden I heard the firecrackers go off, and it made me jump because I forgot that it was happening. So
that was interesting. I had I had an idea. I saw it before. I didn't know if we could pull it off. It was a little bit tricky. It could have been. I think it was okay. It was good. It could have been better. There was a little bit more bells and whistles to it, but I'm not going to say that, because in case it happens again. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was something different. I don't think a lot of people had seen that before. I never saw it before until I caught something similar to it, and I thought, maybe we could do something like that, just to since it was a big blow off. Something, I wrestled. I was with Ashton Day. I wrestled Ashton Day, a few times in front of in the same company and stuff. You want to do something big to kind of send it home, and something I came up with. He sure as hell wasn't coming up with many ideas.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to bring up a couple of names of guys that you've wrestled here, and if you I want to know if you have any story about the match or about the person in general. First off, Necro Butcher.
Oh man, what a great guy! So I met Necro. I think I met him before we wrestled, and found out how much of a sweetheart that he was. But even still, that doesn't matter. I wrestled him twice, in fact. Neither time was very pleasant. He's I think 100% blind. I don't know how he looks you in the eye when he talks to you, because he'll tell you, when he's swinging at you, he don't know where he's swinging at. So those suck. The thing about Necro is he'll kick your ass, but he's expecting it right back, and I like that. I personally appreciate that, because I'm all about that myself. So working with Necro was actually really, really cool. It was fresh off The Wrestler being released in theaters and stuff, such a big deal. So working with him, and him being so humble. He didn't live too far away from me, so we kept in touch throughout the years after that, and then he kind of disappeared, and that's that. But my matches with Necro were always very. I'm fond of all my experiences with Necro, and especially in the ring. It was a real blast, kicking each other's asses. It is definitely easy to sell.
All right, Shane Helms.
Okay, that's a good one. I almost forgot that. That's one that always even I forget about that one sometimes. So we're in a college town, and they booked out the whole basketball gym, I believe, and it was a big deal. It was a nice amount of people there, and he was cool. Shane was cool, but at the same time, Shane Helms has been there and done that. I'd never met him before the match. It was interesting, just a little behind the curtain. It was kind of like, he pretty much said, I've wrestled just about everybody. He's like, just tell me a guy that you think that you wrestle like. And, I'm like, I don't know. You don't want to sound like a super duper Mizark, but I was like, I don't know, man. I like to throw a Bobby Eaton right hand. He's like, say no more. He called the match, and he said, what do you want me to finish you with? And I was like, yeah. I was like, well, I think it might be a DQ or something, brother, because I got the strap here. And sure enough, he said, well, we're going to do the choke slam. That gets the biggest pop. So choke slam, he covers me 1, 2, 3, and then he never came back to the territory. So it was kind of just swept under the rug. But it was a fun time. Shane was great. I was a big Shane Helms fan, towards the end of WCW, and Gregory Helms was pretty damn cool in my opinion too. His swinging neckbreaker from the top rope, I got that in my bucket list. So if I ever get back in the ring, you guys better be ready for it. So Shane Helms is pretty cool.
And one more, and I'm going to bring this one up, is we had Colin Delaney on, and he had a bad experience with this particular guy. I want to know if it came with you. I don't know.
It wasn't all that bad. I was told I was booked the week of. I just started an MCW. There's another one that I should bring up, MCW with Shasta out in that area. That they would be thriving at this time, too, if Shasta would have still been with us. He was thinking about making a comeback, and his ideas and stuff like that would have been really, really top notch here in this time. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm wandering. But anyway, I was told
wander all you want, dude. You could whatever you like. We're free to do whatever.
He was Shasta was a great promoter and booker. He was great with the talent. He was no bullshit. He said what he wanted. He would listen to your ideas. The funny thing about Shasta was, and I don't know if a lot of people knew this or what, but he would talk. He'd call you and he'd want to bullshit with you and talk to you, all hours of the night, which I'm totally cool with. I'm a vampire myself, but the funny thing about Shasta is, you want to give, everybody wants to give ideas, especially a young go hard like Patrick Hayes. No, I'd like to do this one. I think it'd be great if we do this. Why don't you give me the belt? Just shit like that. Not saying that actually happened, wink, wink. But the thing about Shasta is he'd be like, hey, I'm all about talking about, getting constructive criticism or helping with the book or whatever. But I'm not going to listen to anything that you want to do for yourself. You have to give me an idea for like other people, or like a roundabout way or a story that would get to, your idea before just saying like, hey, throw me in the main event. And that was like super. I never heard that before, which was just, then you're scratching your head and you're like, you know what? You think you're just bullshitting with a buddy, but at the end of the day, he's all business. And it's like, that fucking makes sense, because, anybody could be like, hey, put the belt on me, and here's why, because I think that I'm the best. But in reality, tell me why and how we're going to get from point A to point B, instead of just saying like, here's what you should do with me. Well, what about the other 20 guys or girls on the roster? You know what I mean? I thought that was cool. Anyway, Shasta calls me, I think Thursday before the Saturday show, or maybe it was I don't even know what day it was, to tell you the truth. It was in the Mahoney Valley Scrappers. What is that, a AAA territory there, JHawk?
It's not even AAA. It's like Rookie A league, but
right. But they
minor league baseball stadium though.
And back they were. I don't know how new they were, but they were definitely drawing there's a lot of people there. And so he did. They still do it. Actually, they still do it yearly with another company, and they bring in some names and whatever. And I had just started with Shasta, and he calls me. I was at the grocery store actually, and he called me. I says, "Oh boy, I'm gonna have to talk to Shasta for an hour and a half." He calls me up and says, "Hey, what are you up to?" I says, "Just grocery shopping." "So you want to wrestle Al Snow this weekend?" I says, "Well, hell yeah." That was the end of it. Get to the show. Mick Foley's there. A few other names and stuff like that. So of course, and they were doing like an autograph session before that, so they're all kind of hanging out together, and they all come into the locker room together, and then it's kind of like, all right, where do we go from here? And it's Al Snow was, he was business. It was kind of like, what do you like to do out there, kid? I gave him a couple of things that I, again, being young and naive. Well, I like to do this move and I like to do that move. And he's like, yeah, well, how do you work? And it's like, well, it was kind of the first time I heard that. And it's like, well, looking back on it, it's like, that makes sense. Who gives a shit about the moves? It's not the moves, it's the moments. You know what I mean? And so we went out there, and it was a real basic, yes, no, boo, yes, whatever kind of match. But the crowd was into it, and he hit me with head and 1, 2, 3. And I will say this. I guess we're going to get deep. After the match, hey, any advice? And it's, believe it or not, if you go back and there's video of it, I believe, somewhere on YouTube. It's a deep cut. Believe it or not, he told Patrick Hayes he had to get bigger, because Patrick Hayes wasn't always as big. And I says, yeah, I think so. And he says, you could do it the easy way or the hard way. And so Patrick Hayes chose the easy way. And to tell you the truth, my stomach hasn't been full since, if you know what I mean. So I tried the easy way, and didn't really work out for me. It worked out for me for a little bit, but after a while, it kind of just stayed. And that's a struggle that I go with. And I don't mean to take this deep dive, but it's something that I think a lot of guys getting a little older, guys and girls, in a body business, kind of veering away from that a little bit. If you can go, you can go. It doesn't matter. Got a couple extra lbs or whatever, but at the same time, it's something that you got to look in the mirror and figure out from time to time. So that's another stigma about the business that I like, that is kind of gone away. I mean, sure, it's still there, and people who can deal with it can deal with it. It's just like back in the day with steroids and stuff like that. There's a time and a place for it, and if you can manage it, you can manage it. I'm no saint by any means at all, as far as bad things, I guess, for lack of a better term. But yeah, back then it was get bigger the easy way or the hard way, and so I'll never forget. Al Snow told me that, and it didn't really work out for me. So thanks, Al.
Butters, you've been quiet. Why don't you go ahead and get it?
I got a lot. I got a lot here.
Go on, Butters. Take it down, brother.
All right. So what's the worst ring name you've ever heard?
And before you answer that question, you cannot say Phil the Krevin.
You beat me to it. My family came to a show because we had one in my hometown.
The first show I ever worked, by the way. He's telling the story.
And that was my name. And back when those double entendres were funny, those Danny Doring kind of things. But yeah, to this day, my aunt and a couple of my cousins, they still do the chant, Phil or dun, dun, Kravis. It's funny, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, I could go through the entire 42 Championship Wrestling roster, JHawk.
They were some dookie back in that day. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'm trying to work in there today, but I had to start somewhere. And I love Rick to death, but ugh.
I love Rick too. I think he's doing a pretty jam up job with that RCW over in. I went to a show with Wilbur. Me and Wilbur went ourselves. We ran into Miles. Miles who? Sorry,
Jacob. Miles Jacob.
Miles, another great kid, and Jeff Meekins of all people. And we sat there, and the four of us had the time of our lives, just being fans. And I thought it was a real nice show. I mean, they a little long winded, but give everybody a chance, I guess. It was a pretty good show. I think Rick's doing pretty good over there. He's got a hell of a talent in that Harley Morris. I think he's pretty good. And Potok looks incredible. I've never seen him in that kind of shape. And then Rick, he's always going to get the heat. You can say what you want about his technical prowess, as it were, but he's always going to get heat. No matter if it's friends and family in the crowd or not. I think I think Wilbur say the same thing. I mean, we had the time of our lives. It was actually a really fun show.
Yeah, I'll get heat for admitting to it, but Rick was my first trainer. No.
Oh yeah. I spent some time in the garage before. I think that's the first time I met you was at Rick's house, actually.
I think so.
Yep. It was me, you just bullshitting about Ring of Honor, and I think everybody else was like looking around like, what the hell is Ring of Honor? Tell me when I'm telling lies.
No, you're exactly right.
So where's the weirdest place you've ever wrestled?
Oh, man. Like, there was a couple Mid-Ohio shows that were at I believe it was a broken down, like, defunct movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
Was interesting. I wrestled in a Quaker Steak and Lube parking lot, but those are kind of common. Like parking lot shows aren't all that weird. They just run together. There's shit. A daycare or like a kindergarten kind of like a preschool.
Yes.
Was only I think like a year before. So that that was interesting.
The kids there?
No.
Oh shit.
But
that would have been a lot of fun, though.
I said I used to watch Capital Wrestling in an elementary school auditorium, and they wouldn't allow blood, and they put on Homicide versus Casanova Valentine and made them wrestle for real, and it was one of the worst things I've ever sat through.
Great, that's awesome. I'm sure as soon as we sign off here, I'm going to think of 1,000 of them. But there's some that I've heard about, like Wilbur. I guess Wilbur's like first matches were like at a library. I think that he told me that. I think a library is kind of cool to wrestle at. It'd be great if like it was during library hours, like they can pop, but like they can't like use noise. You know what I mean? Like
that would be amazing.
Yeah, like a library rules match where like you have to be quiet and like
the Japanese wrestlers during COVID. I mean, the Japanese fans during COVID, they weren't allowed to cheer or nothing.
Yeah. I think stuff like that's
Imagine
hilarious.
people like chanting real silently. Holy shit! Holy shit! Be really great.
Great.
Did you do the QPW show that was in the freaking Harley Davidson shop?
Yes, I did both of them. There was two, I believe.
Okay, yeah, I did one of them.
Yeah, I did two of them. One was, I think they were both in the same part of the building. I'm pretty sure that building's all different. There was a chili cook-off there not too long ago, and I went in thinking that it was laid out like it was when they had the shows there, but it's not. But yeah, I did the shows there. That was pretty cool. wasn't too bad as far as like that space, that area. They were loud. the crowd was, they were into it, right?
Yeah. We keep talking about weird venues, and like that one just kind of dawned on me. Cause like I think the one I did, it was a double shot. We had Mid Ohio that same day. It was like what the show was like 1 o'clock, and then we had Mid Ohio at 7. You and I did both of those shows.
Did I? Yeah, I think I remember that. Did I do both, or was that when I was on one of my
I think you did. I think you did both.
Okay, because there's been a couple of times through the years that I wasn't Dave Stafford's favorite for a while. Couple times.
Waffle House or Sheets?
Oh, neither. I'm a certified chef, actually, believe it or not. But so I don't really care for stuff like that.
Fuck yeah.
But I guess Sheets at the when it's quick. But I like my hash browns smothered, covered, and all that shit. So if I have the time, and if the group's right, I'll go to Waffle House. But if I'm by myself and I'm on the road late, Sheets is where it's at. So I can't pick just one. Sorry.
Right on.
Okay. Now I know you've done. I hate to cut you off, Butter. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I mean, I know you've done a lot of post-show meals with Wilbur and the guy. Where did you guys normally go to for like a Waffle House wasn't available?
Oh man, well, Wilbur, especially if we're out in that area, Wilbur could find the local watering holes, and fingers crossed that their kitchen was open. In fact, Wilbur puts on his best voice as far as like me. I'll drink my dinner, but Wilbur will call and say, "Hey, is your guys' kitchen open?" Call multiple places until we could find one, until we can't, and then it's like, all right, we're not doing it. There's been plenty of places. Wilbur was always the guy to find. There's a couple great pizza places out in Barberton when we wrestled in that area. Wilbur's the guy to ask for that one. I kind of just go wherever the post-match shenanigans are going and some cocktails and cold beers are going. Really, I'll eat later or the next day.
Yeah, I know I got invited to BW3 you guy once or twice. I couldn't do it for whatever reason, but
yeah, anyways, you didn't miss anything.
Yeah, I got Butter from Kari.
See if you remember your craziest fan interaction.
Craziest. Well, besides the, with the, like he was talking about earlier, the accessibility and stuff with the weird messages and, strange requests and stuff from, grown adult human beings to complete strangers that you've seen, roll around in their underwear. Sure, I guess that gives you a pass, but at the same time, it's kind of strange as far as, typing something out. But as far as interaction, nothing too bizarre. There's been some guys that would, want to be strong and, because they don't understand it to work, and those kind of suck. But strangest, I don't know. There's been some ladies that would, paint themselves up and, go further on their bodies and stuff like that and show you at really inopportune times. When you're something, you put the towel over your head to go to the pisser because it's of course it's going to complete other side of the locker room or the locker room's here and the one pisser is on the complete other side. So you try to go incognito, put some shorts over your gear and a towel over your head. Well, that's just giving yourself away. But try to be professional. I don't want to take away anybody's match. So yeah, just meeting me at the door and just showing me interesting parts of their body. Not complaining, but interesting to say the least. Again, that's another one that I guess I wasn't prepared for. Maybe we could do a round 2, and I'll have some of those instances jotted down because I know there's going to be 1,000 of them as soon as we sign off here. I just know it.
Right on. For sure, we'll have to do like we might have to start doing that with everybody because like I feel like usually right after then everything kind of flows. So then we'll have to start doing like a catch up round 2 part thing. Last thing I want to talk about is you were an early AIW. So with that, I have to ask, do you have any good Chandler Biggins stories? Because his mom listens every week, so she always likes to hear stories. So if you have a good Chandler story, we'd like to hear it.
Yeah, this is back in '06, I believe. Again, Tom Dunn and I were buddies through the UWC and Freak Show Wrestling and some other local stuff. And we'd ride together, and he started working on this show. And back then, all I knew about it was an Unknown and Virus. Where there's another underrated. I'd love to spend an hour talking about them, but two other guys that really opened my eyes to the business. Anyhow, he talked about that they were kind of like helping run this new show in Cleveland, AIW, and he was putting over. I went to a show with Tom Dunn. It was a show that Colt Commando went on. He was wrestling the Deviant EC3. Went, introduced myself, and said hello. Just made some contact, just saying hello. And I was on MySpace, just sitting. Me and my stepbrother just sitting in the living room, pondering over this and that. And I get a MySpace message from Chandler Biggins and says, "Hey, the Duke is hurt. The Duke wrestled the show before. The Duke got hurt, and he's gonna be the Duke of Alpha Beta Duke, and he needs some pledges. How about you be the first pledge for Alpha Beta Duke?" And I jumped out of my chair. It was the coolest thing ever because I'd never been to a show. Even when I started wrestling, I was only a couple years in. It was as sweet as AIW. I'd never been to Peabody's down under in Cleveland. Never been to a concert venue like that at all. So let alone a wrestling show, and how it was. I always hate, especially back then. Everybody wants, we're going to be the next ECW, and it reminded me of the next ECW. It was probably the closest thing that I'd ever seen to like just a really rage, just fucking cool. At the end of the day, that's all I could say. It was fucking cool, and I just would do it. I would just wanted to be there so bad. So they get the call, or they get the MySpace message from Biggins to be there, and I didn't know. I mean, I was so naive. I didn't know who ran it or whatever. But Biggins got me the break and went in there. I worked there for about a year or two, and but a better Biggins story is when Duke and I went to UWC had like a revival in like the later 2000s in the Eagles in Cuyahoga Falls, I believe. And it was a real small, just little Eagles club. But Potok brought in these just such awesome wrestlers. It was just so cool to be on this small, I don't want to say shit show, but you wouldn't know it by looking. It was a UWC show that you never thought that these guys and girls would be on. And I'm on it with me and the Duke. We tag teamed. We became the tag team champions. We wrestled Ray Rowe and the Deviant in a Halloween match. That's a story for another day. But it goes back to Biggins. The next show, Biggins was our manager on that show. But then the next show, Duke wasn't there, and I wrestled John McChesney while the main event was running super late. So before me and John go out, Potok says, "We need to kill some time. So your guys' match is now a 2 out of 3 falls. We need you guys to go about a half hour." We had about an 8-minute match go, and thank
God.
was out there, and he was such a fan of McChesney at the time, and mine at the time. I don't know if anything changed through the years. I hope not, because I was always a big fan of Chris. But Biggins was all about taking bumps and doing all kinds of shit with McChesney. McChesney standing on bar tables, like low top bar tables, and doing double stomps on Biggins. Biggins is taking him, having the time ass off. I'm selling. I'm looking at him. I'm laughing. McChesney took a quarter and he put it between his fingers. He held it in his tights. And McChesney's got big chops. I learned my chops from McChesney and Ray Rowe. They had the best ones. But McChesney, the scumbag, he fucking put a quarter in his tights and he held it in between his 2 fingers here. And every chop he gave me, he lit me up. He started lighting up Biggins, and Biggins looking at me. I'm looking at him like, what the fuck's going on? And came to the back, all 3 of us. It was it was a really, really nice moment. I mean, we were out there for like a half hour, and McChesney just beating the shit out of us. Me and Biggins were having the time of our lives because we were big McChesney marks. So, yeah, I really
quarter in the fingers. That's something new. I never heard that before.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
What were you? Finally, he told us after the match. I was like, "What were you doing?" And he pulled it out, and he just smiled at me with that shit-eating grin. I couldn't believe it. I was like, "You dick." So receipts coming.
More guys should do that. That's wild. I like that. Oh, that is interesting.
It was super cool. At the time, it sucked, but then a couple of days later with fair skin like mine, I'm like, yeah, that was pretty cool.
So you haven't wrestled at all this year, really, have you?
After Neo Pro's November show, I just took a little break. I'm kind of licking my wounds, kind of getting a little right up here, trying to at least just trying to get back into the swing of things. I'm getting older. I can't. That's one thing we can't get back, and that's time. There's such great talent out there. I don't want to take up space, but at the same time, it's I think I do okay. Not to toot my own horn, but I took a break from everywhere after that. It's a weird time. It sucked the time that I decided to do it. I wanted to do it about a year ago, but the opportunities and the stories and the feeling and the belts, they just kept coming. So it was hard to say no. And after a while, I had to put my foot down and I need to recharge. I need to figure out what the next move is, and that's where I'm at right now. And we're kind of seeing where it goes. We'll see.
Oh, I do have to ask. We know Wilbur basically last year. You're going to come back in time to get one more match with Wilbur in before he hangs the boot up.
I'm not a betting man, but I don't think you've seen the last of Patrick Hayes in the ring with Wilbur Whitlock. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
Jggold, but we cut you off. You had a question. We cut you off to get the butter question. Do you remember what you were going to ask?
No, we covered it. We covered it. The more stories I heard, the more we covered it. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to, I'd like to do another one where we just sit and just let you go on a tangent and just tell stories.
I think what we might do is get him and Wilbur on.
Yes,
and let them both go.
Spend a half a day with us.
And that's what we're here for, man. We got plenty of time. Yeah. We'll get you, Wilbur, and Pedro together and let you guys just.
Oh. Say when. I won't be late for that one.
I think we might be able to work something out one day. We'll have to do that and just let you guys tell stories.
Do you want to plug anything while you're on? Do you have any place you want us to look? Any of your socials or anything?
No, man. I kind of keep pretty private. Believe it or not, as extras I like to get. When the music's playing and the tights are on. I'm kind of. I'll talk to people, at shows and whatnot, but I don't really. I don't need no messages or anything from anybody that I don't know.
Let me put it to you this way. If I didn't,
right?
Yeah. Let me put you this way. If I didn't know his shoot name, we wouldn't have got him on the show tonight. But
well, that's good then. All right. Well, let's go to the plugs then. JHawk, what do you got? Butters, what do you got? Let's go.
You can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and Blue Sky at RefJHawk, Instagram at JHawk1539. I don't have anything going on the next couple weeks. I think June 21st is my next actual booking. So,
yeah, I got the new IW Guide trading cards will be available starting probably this Friday. I'll have them at AIW Saturday. I'll be filming some stuff there for the next set of Neo Pro shows coming up in July and August. We got some big names confirmed for those. I will say that we do have Cheeseburger coming back this fall in Neo Pro for another match. I'm super excited to have him back. This time it'll be at the Dome, so a bigger audience can see him. Super excited for that. We did confirm that. I think Gary J and the rest of Unsigned Don't Care are set for a return to Neo Pro as well in August. Toy Hio is June 21st, and I'll be running that. I think we have some really fun names for that. Blair Davenport, and then we also have the ECW original.
If you allow me, Joel, go big and hard, not Hurtner, Gertner.
There you go, Joel Gertner.
So, Patrick, before I go, by the way, let me ask. Butters may reminded me. Do you do any promoter stuff now, or are you helping out or doing anything anywhere? Or are you just chilling from the business altogether?
No, I'm chilling from the business altogether. That's definitely something I've dabbled in a little bit. Some people like it, some people don't. But at the same time, I kind of think that it was okay. It's definitely somewhere that I want to be. I mean, I'll be in wrestling one way or another forever. But as of right now, I'm just taking a break. This is, believe it or not, just straightforward. It was a little bit of a task to get on here. I mean, I know I kind of asked for it with JHawk. We were just bullshitting a couple weeks ago, but it's nothing against the business or obviously nothing against you guys. I don't even know you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But time it was just, like just being away from the business. It's been a little bit tough to watch even on TV. I've never been lately. I haven't been watching stuff for the past few years. I like the old stuff just as a fan standpoint. But yeah, I've been away from it, and but I'm definitely getting the itch, and I miss it. And you'll see me. You'll definitely see me around. But as of right now, it's kind of just being away from it entirely.
I dig it. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I get that. I know I pretty much kind of probably refereeing life might be my last full-time year, but I'm going to find something else to do. Like I'm never leaving it.
you could be a podcaster. I heard that's a very lucrative gig. Well, shit. You can find me on Instagram or on Twitter at JGold12. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Check out our Twitter handle, IW Guide, Blue Sky handle, IW Guide. Twitter handle, IW Guide 1, Blue Sky, IW Guide, and patreon.com/IW Guide. Don't forget about the merch store over Brainbuster Tees and Gorilla Press Apparel, our pal Will. Check out our other podcast friends, the Main Event Wrestling Network. That's us, the Wrestling Junkies, on the Mark Wrestling Podcast, and my show on Tuesday nights, the NXT Night Shift. It is live and always going, so check us out. We're on episode 12. At Odds with Wrestling, the card is going to change. The Super Fantastic Podcast and Marks with Mikes. Check out our other friends, Time Capsule Toys, Toy Hio, Rubber City Toys, Neo Pro Wrestling, OKCR Creations, Stash Pages, and Pally's Beef Jerky by our very own Kaplan. That's all I got.
Life short, watch more indie wrestling.
Later.
Later.
Don't forget to review and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Find us online at Facebook and Instagram at the Indie Wrestling Guide, and on X or Twitter at IW Guide 1.